All right, so welcome to another deep dive. And today we're diving into the world of fish keeping. But we're not just like, dipping our toes in the shallow end. We're going deep.
Okay.
So we're going to be looking at this blog post. It's by this experienced fish keeper. His name is Ang, and his website is kianmeng.org.
hmm
And the post we're looking at today is titled Notes on Fish Keeping, Part 79, Starting a New Outdoor Pond.
Oh, wow. Starting a new outdoor pond. So is this like a brand new pond or is there something else going on here?
Well, that's the thing. It's not exactly brand new.
Okay.
What's really interesting about this post is that Aang actually had to like completely restock his pond
Oh, wow. Okay.
after an unexpected flood.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a unique look into how someone with, years of experience in fish keeping reacts to these kinds of setbacks and also how they approach new challenges. Even after years of doing the same thing, I think you might even find some parallels, with your own field.
Definitely. I mean, anytime you've got something that you've put a lot of time and effort into and then something unexpected happens that forces you to start over, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in how people react to that. So I'm interested to hear how this flood affected him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the post starts out with Aang kind of just describing this burst pipe
Mm.
and how it led to the total loss of all of his fish. And you might expect, someone to be pretty devastated by this.
Yeah.
But Aang's reaction is actually surprisingly calm. You know,
Oh, interesting.
he's been keeping fish since 2017, so this is like his 8th year, I think, in the hobby. And it just seems like that experience has really shaped his outlook. He's kind of seen it all at this point.
I can definitely see that. I mean, in any field, right? You do something long enough, you're going to run into those unexpected challenges, those setbacks. And I think over time, you start to develop maybe a little bit of the thicker skin. You learn to roll with the punches a little bit better.
Yeah, totally. It's almost like he's become a little bit desensitized to loss,
Right.
which, that might sound a little bit sad, but, I mean, if you think about it, I think anyone who's been in a field for a long time, whether it's fish keeping or something else, like they've probably seen their fair share of successes and failures.
Right. Yeah.
So it's natural to kind of, develop that ability to kind of just keep going, even when things don't go your way.
Yeah. And like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. I mean, like, yes, maybe you lose a little bit of um, that initial like wide-eyed wonder,
Mm,
but you gain the ability to look at things a little more objectively and say, okay, well, this happened. What can I learn from it? How do I move forward?
right. Exactly, yeah. He even contrasts this current reaction with his early days in fish keeping.
Okay.
Back in 2017, he describes himself as having this like eager curiosity of a beginner,
Oh, I like that.
almost like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
But now his approach is so much more analytical and measured.
Right. Yeah, I think we can all relate to that, right? That shift from excited newbie to seasoned pro. Like, think about your own experiences, right? When you first started out and mentioned the listener's field, based on your knowledge of the listener persona, I'm sure there was just this eagerness to learn everything and anything, right?
Oh yeah.
But as you gain experience, you start to see patterns,
Yeah.
you develop systems, you start to approach things more strategically.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the feeling of baking a cake for the first time versus the 100th time.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you might not have that initial excitement anymore,
right.
but you gain precision.
Yeah.
You gain efficiency.
Yeah.
You're less likely to make those rookie mistakes.
You know what you're doing. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's what's really fascinating about Aang's story, I think, is that he's clearly learned so much over the years.
Yeah.
And it's reflected in how he approaches this setback.
Yeah.
Like instead of getting really emotional about it, he just kind of jumps right into problem-solving mode.
Yeah. He's like, all right, well, this happened. Time to figure out what's next.
Exactly.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah. And he even decides to completely change his approach to fish keeping this time around.
Okay.
So he used to be really into betta breeding.
Uh-huh.
And he even mentions like the challenges of finding a quality breeding pair.
Mhm.
For those who might not be familiar with the term, a breeding pair refers to a male and a female fish
Gotcha.
that are carefully selected for their desirable traits.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's essential if you're trying to produce high quality offspring.
Right.
And he even highlights how much time and effort it took to develop a successful, betta breeding operation.
It sounds like he really dove deep into that world,
Yeah.
like really enjoyed the challenge of specializing in this one particular type of fish.
Yeah.
It's something that we often see, I think, in a lot of hobbies and professions, right? Like you start broad, you explore all these different areas, and then you find something that just truly captivates you. You dive deep, become an expert, and maybe even experience that unique satisfaction of mastering a very specific skill.
It sounds like, yeah, he really did, like,
Yeah.
put his heart and soul into it. But this time, he's decided to go in a completely different direction with the restocked pond.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's he doing?
So this time, instead of like focusing on one species, he's decided to create this like diverse ecosystem
Double.
with like a mix of, different fish species like guppies, gourami, and swordtails.
Okay. Little community tank.
Yeah. Yeah, like a little mini community.
Yeah.
And he even admits, he's not really sure how they're all going to get along.
Right. I mean, that's always the question, right? When you're putting together a tank like that, it's like, are these personalities going to mesh, or is it going to be like fish fight club in there?
Right, exactly. It's almost like he's setting up this mini experiment, you
Yeah,
know.
I like that.
Just letting nature take its course and seeing what happens. He's got like 5 breeding pairs of guppies, a hopeful breeding pair of gourami. He says, fingers crossed they're actually male and female, and then 10 swordtails of unknown genders.
Wow.
So it's just like, yeah, he's just throwing it all in there and seeing what happens.
I mean, it's a very different approach, right? From the betta breeding, where you're very carefully controlling the environment, you're selecting specific traits. This is much more of a like hands-off, let's see what nature does kind of approach.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think that's where his expertise, really comes in.
Okay.
Because he's not just like randomly, throwing fish together. Like he's chosen species that are known to be relatively, peaceful and adaptable. But there's always that chance for surprises,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You never know how individual fish are going to behave, in a community setting.
Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting, right? It's like you can do all the research, you can try to plan it out as much as possible, but at the end of the day, fish are going to fish, right? They're going to do their own thing, and you just kind of have to sit back and watch the drama unfold.
Right, exactly. It's like that element of unpredictability, right? Like he's chosen fish with different temperaments, different needs, and now he just gets to observe, how they interact. It's like stepping back and watching this mini drama, with all of its twists and turns.
I love that. And it's funny because I think there's a parallel there to life in general. Like how much control do we really have, right?
Mhm.
Over the things that happen to us. Like we can make plans, we can try to steer things in a certain direction,
Mhm.
but ultimately there's always going to be that element of chance of the unknown. And I think being able to embrace that, to be okay with that not knowing is a really valuable skill.
Totally, yeah. And it's also like it's a really good reminder that expertise isn't about, having all the answers.
Right.
It's about being curious, you know, being adaptable, being willing to experiment. It's about that continuous journey of learning and discovery.
100%. And I think that's what Aang is really modeling here, right? Like he's clearly an expert in fish keeping, but he's not letting that stop him from trying something new, from embracing that uncertainty. He's using his knowledge as a foundation, but he's also open to learning and adapting along the way.
Right. It's like think about it like planning a trip.
Okay.
You can meticulously plan out every single detail.
Right.
Book every hotel in advance, every restaurant reservation.
Yeah.
Or you could just, pack a bag and hit the road and see what happens.
Yeah.
And both approaches have their merits.
Yeah.
Planning gives you that sense of control, that security.
Hmm.
But spontaneity can lead to, these unexpected adventures, these discoveries that you never would found if you had stuck to the plan.
Exactly. And in a way, that's kind of what Aang is doing with this pond,
Yeah.
right? Like he's stepping outside of his comfort zone,
Yeah.
embracing a bit of uncertainty and just letting nature guide the process.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even with years of experience, there's always something new to learn, something new to discover.
Yeah. And speaking of new things, let's not forget about the plants.
Oh, yes.
The plant.
Sure. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
added water wisteria and duckweed to the pond.
Okay.
And these aren't just for, decoration. They play a really vital role in creating this healthy environment for the fish.
Right, right.
Water wisteria, for example, helps to oxygenate the water,
Okay.
while duckweed provides cover and even acts as like a natural food source for some of the fish.
So it's like he's creating this this mini ecosystem, right? Like a tiny little self-contained world.
Yeah. Where everything works in harmony.
Right.
Like the plants provide the oxygen, the food, the fish help to keep the populations in check, and the waste products from the fish actually help to nourish the plants. It's just this beautiful cycle.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us back to that idea of expertise versus, exploration.
Right.
It's like Aang is clearly an expert in fish keeping,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not letting that stop him from trying something new.
Yeah.
He's using his knowledge as a foundation,
Mm.
but he's also open to learning and adapting along the way.
Right. And I think that's something that we can all take away from this, right? No matter what our interests are, our professions. Like, have you ever found yourself, hesitant to try something new because you're afraid of messing up or looking like a beginner?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's easy to get stuck in a rut,
Yeah.
to stick with what we know and avoid those unfamiliar waters.
Yeah.
But sometimes the most rewarding experiences come from stepping outside of that comfort zone and embracing those challenges.
Absolutely. Like Aang's story is just a great reminder that expertise isn't about having all the answers, right? It's about being curious, being adaptable, being willing to experiment. It's about that continuous journey of learning and discovery.
Yeah, totally. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into Aang's fish keeping journey, what are some of the key takeaways here? What do you think our listener can kind of apply to their own life?
Well, I think for me, what really stands out is just how much Aang's experience has shaped him. Not just in terms of, his skills as a fish keeper, but also in how he reacts to setbacks,
Hmm.
to the inevitable ups and downs. He seems so much more resilient than someone who's just starting out, more adaptable, more philosophical about loss.
Yeah, it really makes you think about how we approach setbacks in our own lives, right?
Exactly.
Like, do we let them derail us,
Yeah.
or do we use them as opportunities to learn and grow, to kind of pivot and try something new?
Right. And I think Aang also demonstrates how expertise doesn't have to stifle curiosity.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly mastered this whole beta breeding thing, but he's still eager to experiment, to try something new with this diverse pond setup. It's like he's found that sweet spot between confidence and humility. Like he knows what he's doing, but he's also open to being surprised by what he doesn't know.
Right. And I think that's such a great takeaway, for anyone who's feeling stuck in a rut, whether it's in their career, their hobbies, or just their approach to life in general. Like
Mhm.
maybe it's time to shake things up a bit,
Right.
to step outside that comfort zone and just try something new.
Yeah.
You never know what you might discover about yourself and about the world around you.
Absolutely. And even if you're thinking like, well, I'm no expert in anything, like that's okay too. Remember, expertise is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's about cultivating that curiosity, that willingness to learn and experiment, to embrace both successes and failures as opportunities for growth.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as you go about your day to day, I encourage you to think about those areas in your life where you might be holding yourself back. Where could you benefit from a little bit more of Aang's adaptability,
Yeah.
his willingness to explore? What new challenges could you embrace?
Yeah, and what new burst pipes are out there, waiting to happen.
That's a great way to put it.
And how can you turn those into something beautiful and unexpected?
Exactly. And keep Aang's story in mind. Remember, even a burst pipe and a lost fish population can become a springboard for exciting new discoveries.
Well said. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of fish keeping and the lessons it holds for all of us. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.